It's been just over a week since Taylor Swift bought back her masters, and the reaction has been insane. Let's get into everything that's happened since Taylor made the announcement and how Ryan and I are feeling about all of it. Welcome to Hits Differently. I'm Molly, and at the time that I'm recording this, we are just 25 people away from hitting 26,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is so exciting. So please, if you're not subscribed, go click that button right now to help us meet that milestone. And we also realized that 40% of the people who watch our YouTube videos aren't subscribed to the channel, but it would help us so much if you were, and we would be so grateful. Please go click that button for us. And if you'd like to watch ad-free, you can join our Patreon. The link for how to do that will be in the description of this episode. And if you're listening to this, please give us a rating or review and follow us wherever you're listening to this podcast. Before we get to the wild week that it was for Swifties, I want to take you back to 2019, which is the start of this whole situation with Taylor and her masters. In June of 2019, Taylor Swift found out with the rest of the general public that her masters had been sold from Big Machine Records to Ithaca Holdings, which was owned by Scooter Braun. And Taylor posted about this, explaining why Scooter Braun is someone that only brings up really bad memories for her. She said that whenever she spoke to the people at Big Machine Records about Scooter, she was either crying or trying not to cry. Scooter represented Kanye West and Justin Bieber and was involved in a lot of things that really took Taylor to a really dark place back before the Reputation era. So for her to find out that her entire life's work had been sold to Scooter Braun with no opportunity for her to buy her work back, she described it as her worst case scenario. Later on that summer, as Taylor was promoting the Lover album, she would go on to announce that she was going to re-record her first 6 albums so that she could have ownership of her life's work again. Within the record deal that she had with Big Machine, she was fully allowed to do this. In 2020, she was going to be contractually allowed to start re-recording her first 5 albums, and Reputation, which was the 6th, she was not allowed to start recording until 2022. So a year after Taylor found out that her music was sold, and a year after she announced that she was going to re-record her first 6 albums, we are now in the fall of 2020. And on November 16th of 2020, Taylor posted on social media that she had just found out that her masters were sold for a second time without her knowledge and without her ability to purchase it, despite the fact that she had been actively trying for the past year to purchase her masters back. So in the second sale, Ithaca Holdings sold her work to a company called Shamrock Holdings, and Shamrock wanted to negotiate with Taylor back in 2020. They reached out to her explaining that they wanted to work with her and they wanted to sell her masters back. But Taylor found out that Scooter was still going to be able to profit off of this deal for years to come. And she wrote back to Shamrock that while she was really interested in doing a deal with them, she had no interest in doing it if Scooter Braun was going to be involved or make any money off of the deal. Taylor told Shamrock, "Please do let me know if your firm is ever completely independent from Scooter Braun and his associates." And she went on to say, "I feel the need to be very transparent with you. I will be going forward with my original re-recording schedule and will be embarking on that effort soon. I know this will diminish the value of my old masters, but I hope you understand that this is my only way of regaining the sense of pride I once had when hearing the songs from my first 6 albums, and also allowing my fans to listen to those albums without the feelings of guilt for benefiting Scooter. Sincerely, Taylor." So as Taylor shared this letter to Shamrock with us, she let us know that at that point, she had started re-recording, that she had a bunch of surprises in store for us. We didn't know yet that things were going to be called Taylor's versions. We didn't know about vault tracks. We didn't know about any of this. But just a couple months later in 2021, Taylor dropped Love Story, Taylor's version, and she announced that Fearless, Taylor's version, would be the first album that she would release of this re-record project. And thus began the amazing Taylor's version experience that we all got to live these last couple of years. She would go on to release Red later that year in 2021, and then on the Eras Tour in 2023, she announced and released Speak Now, Taylor's version, in 1984. 1989 Taylor's version. Oh, by the way, in between all of those Taylor's versions, we also got Folklore and Evermore right before Fearless, Midnights in between Red and Speak Now, and then we got Tortured Poets after 1989. I mean, this level of output was crazy. And it brought us all to May 30th, 2025, just a casual Friday for a Swiftie. Had no idea what was about to happen. That Taylor would announce that she was finally able to make a deal with Shamrock where she took full ownership, full control, full autonomy over everything. Her masters, her artwork, her concert films, all of it, unreleased songs, everything. Taylor announced all of this with a letter on her site talking about the deal. She posted a little photo shoot with her first 6 albums on social. And in this letter, Taylor explained that she had not finished recording Reputation Taylor's version, despite all of our clowning and all of our evidence that we had that we thought it was going to be released any minute. She also said that she had finished recording her first album, Taylor Swift, Taylor's version, and that the vault tracks from Rep and the full Taylor Swift Taylor's version would get their time at some point. There would still be a celebration and a release of the final parts of this Taylor's version project if we wanted it, if we were interested. So how did the Swifties respond to that? They said, bet. We're interested, Taylor. We're screaming from the rooftops. Okay. We want the rest of the Taylor's version project, and we are so freaking happy for you. We are so proud of you that you now own your life's work. If you joined me on the live stream on that Friday, shortly after that letter dropped on Taylor's site, I was a mess. I was so emotional reading her words, and shortly after I processed those emotions, you know what the first thing I did was? I went to stream some of the old songs, okay? And a lot of other Swifties did too. First of all, I have to shout out the Swifties who hadn't listened to albums like Reputation or Taylor Swift because you became fans during the whole Taylor's version project and you refused to give Scooter Braun any streams. I literally don't understand how all of you must have felt to all of a sudden realize you could just go and stream them. If you're one of those Swifties, please let us know in the comments how it felt that day. And to anyone who wasn't listening to any of the, as we called them, stolen versions, we all flocked, okay? And you can tell that the Swifties were not listening to this stuff for the most part because the numbers are crazy. According to the account Spotify Swiftie on Twitter, the day of the announcement on May 30th, Reputation received its second highest number of streams on Spotify since the original release date for Reputation back in 2017. Spotify shared their streaming numbers with The Hollywood Reporter, and this is so fascinating, okay? They compared the average daily streams from April 1st through May 29th compared to May 30th. Okay, so we're talking almost 2 months compared to 1 day. And on a per album basis, the listenership increased by the following. For 1989, 110%. For Red, 150%. For Fearless, 160%. For Reputation, 175%. For Taylor Swift or Debut, 220%. And coming in hot at the top of the charts, a massive increase for Speak Now at 430%. What? That is wild. Please let me know in the comments if you're one of the people who ran straight to Speak Now. I know that a lot of people ran to Speak Now because of the song Better Than Revenge, because there was a lyric change in the Taylor's version. The line, she's better known for the things that she does on the mattress, changed to, he was a moth to the flame, she was holding the matches. And a lot of people preferred the original lyrics. So I feel like that might have been the main reason why people went back to Speak Now. But as you all know, I was not a full-blown Swiftie at the time of the Speak Now release. So I don't know. Is there other nostalgia that you guys are missing from that album? I know about The Last Kiss, Shaky Breath. I think those are the two biggest things. But what else? If you went back to Speak Now, what are your favorite parts of that album that got it to this 430%? I really thought Reputation and Debut would be the ones that got the highest bumps, but I get it does kind of make sense because Reputation and Debut both would have had a lot more Swifties still listening to them because there was no Taylor's version yet. So anyway, these numbers just continue to be crazy, y'all. Love Story Taylor's version surpassed 1 billion streams on Spotify over the last week, and the original and the re-record are now both over 1 billion streams. Variety reported that Luminate, which is an entertainment and music industry data company, said that Taylor's entire catalog increased by 55% on May 30th. As for Apple Music, they added a new section called Every Version is Taylor's Version, showcasing all of her albums, which I'm an Apple Music girly, so I love that they did that. It's so cool to see. And this is the iTunes global charts as of Friday night, June 6th, which is when we're recording this. 7 of Taylor's albums are in the top 200. 6 of those are the original albums. Lover is the 7th. Shout out Cruel Summer. Reputation is the highest, and directly after the announcement last week, it went to number 1. Now looking ahead to next week, I think we're going to be getting a lot more numbers that are going to tell us how all of the albums charted in the full week after the announcement, because the Billboard 200 is going to come out on Tuesday, and it's very likely that all of the first 6 of Taylor's albums are going to be in the Billboard 200. We asked you guys which albums you've been streaming since we got all of Taylor's music back, and here are some of your responses. Henry and Stephanie said, I've been streaming Reputation guilt-free, of course. Sheila said, I've listened to them all, but I've been streaming Rep at least daily. Heck yeah, Sheila. Barbara said, I'm listening to all of them, but mostly her debut and Reputation albums. I'm having a blast. Thanks for the weekend podcast. It was so nice to see your responses. You guys rock. Thanks, Barbara. You rock too. Impunity said all the OG versions, and Mel Rep said Reputation with a bunch of exclamation points. I'm not going to count the number, but I'm going to guess maybe you put 12 in. If you watched any of our live episodes from the weekend that we got this announcement, then you saw that Ryan and I happened to be together for 2 long distance besties to somehow have the Tay stars align, to be able to be together on the weekend that we got all of Taylor's music back and that we got to listen to our favorite album together. I don't even know what we did to deserve to be so Tay blessed. We had planned for us to hang out that weekend for a long time because Ryan was traveling back to the East Coast for work, and it was the first time that we were getting to see each other since she had moved all the way across the country. And I just can't think for a more perfect way for this to have all gone down than for us to be able to be together and celebrate in person. It was amazing. And a lot of you are probably wondering, how is Ryan feeling now? Because we know she was a little bit of a sad clown at first. She was very happy for Taylor to get her work back and just the overall importance of everything. But she was definitely mourning Reputation Taylor's version a little bit. It's something she looked forward to for a really long time. We both had, and you have to kind of let go of that idea and just embrace that we're going to get the vault tracks someday. And that's the most important thing. And I can exclusively report that after a couple hours after the live stream, actually, when Ryan and I were finally relaxing and just listening to Reputation, it was the best feeling in the world. We're so glad that we are reunited with Reputation, with original Reputation. We don't have to worry about people picking apart Taylor's versions of the songs and how Taylor might say do differently. We can just go back to our favorite original songs. The best way that I can think to describe it is that it just feels like reuniting with a long lost friend or going back and watching a movie you hadn't seen in years. It just was like a warm hug to be able to listen to Rep again and not feel guilty about it at all. It was the best experience. Ryan and I listened to it every way we could. We were listening to it in our headphones headphones. We were listening to it on the speakers. We found some clips on YouTube of the Reputation Stadium tour. We watched the Reputation set on the Eras tour. Alex has a pretty funny video of that. Every time we got in the car and went to go for a drive, we were blasting Don't Blame Me and I Did Something Bad and all of our favorite songs. And we did a recreation of Jack and Taylor's little post for a getaway car. You can check that out on our YouTube shorts or on our social media at It Hits Diff Pod. We love doing those recreations for music videos and just other funny bits. It's one of our favorite things to do when we're together. And you probably won't believe me, but we literally got that on the very first take, which never happens. Anyway, sadly, the weekend came to an end. Ryan had to leave. She went on to her work trip, but we both just kept listening to Rep all week long. I went for my first Reputation run. I listened to it when I was walking my dog. I listened to it while I was doing yard work. I listened to it on my drive to work. I listened to it at work. And Ryan did the exact same. She said that she went for a walk every night on her work trip with her AirPods in and Reputation, baby. And as far as the clowning goes, we actually feel a big sense of peace because while we know there's going to be stuff to clown about in the future, Taylor left many hints for TS12 recently, and especially in that letter with the 12 eyes and that new TS logo that was at the top of the letter. We can clown for Reputation vault tracks and for when debut Taylor's version will come out. But in general, we really do just feel a sense of peace that the crazy clowning for Reputation Taylor's version and everything else has calmed down a little bit. Taylor's been seen out and about recently in a couple different black outfits, and past versions of us might have ended up spiraling over that. And now we can just look at it and be like, oh, Taylor looks good in that outfit and move on and not worry about it. And that's really great. We also don't have to worry when one of Taylor's songs starts to play and you're out somewhere or you have Apple Music or Spotify on shuffle. If it's an OG version, you don't have to worry about it anymore. You don't have to get anxiety. You can just enjoy it. And there's just so much Tay happiness going around now that we are all reunited with her work and now that Taylor owns her masters. And we literally would not give this joy up for anything. One clown note that I will add, though, before I move on, is that this clip resurfaced over the past week of Taylor on Jimmy Fallon, and it's after the Midnight's release, but before she announced the Eras tour. And Jimmy asked Taylor, "Do you think that you might tour again anytime soon?" And she said, "I think we should do it." And he said, "So when it's time, we'll know. You'll tell us." And she said, "When it's time, we'll do it," in the most Taylor cryptic yet pointed way of saying it ever. And she went on to announce the Eras tour literally the following week. So she went from saying, "Yeah, I think we should do it. I think we should tour," to announcing the tour. So when we think about the letter and Taylor saying, if you want the vault tracks of Reputation, or if you want Taylor Swift Taylor's version, there could be a time for that. Just hear it in that tone of Taylor from this Jimmy Fallon interview. We'll link to it in the description of the episode, and know that that means we should stay on our toes. That's all I'm saying. Another thing to note from this past week is that Taylor Nation sent out an email on Wednesday morning saying in the subject line, ... they're all hers, with different colored emojis representing each of the first 6 albums. And then in the body of the email, it said, "The memories, the magic, the madness, they're all hers," with the emojis again. And then a link to go read the letter on Taylor's site. Now, when Taylor first dropped the letter last Friday, and I think pretty much up until that Wednesday, so about 5-6 days, the letter was taking over the full site. You could still get to Taylor's store if you typed in like store.taylorswift.com, but the letter was a full takeover. And then at some point during the week, I think around the time Taylor Nation sent out this letter, they did update this site a little bit. So Taylor's letter is still the focal point on the website, but you now see the top navigation is back where you can go to the archives or see her directed projects or get to the shop. And then the top left, they put back in the TTPD logo, which I did think was interesting, especially considering the letter was starting to hint at TS12. I didn't know if maybe that meant some of the TTPD things were about to go away, because Taylor and Taylor Nation usually do that. When we enter a new era, they start to slowly replace things that you used to see in the old era. But all the TTPD stuff is still there for now, the profile pictures and the logo on the website, things like that. Another really fun and cute thing that happened this week was on New Heights. Shaq was the special guest for the episode this past week, and he played I Knew You Were Trouble for Travis and Jason, and he said, "This is my favorite song." And Travis was bopping along, dancing along to it, and it was the original I Knew You Were Trouble. And Travis clocked it so fast, and he took that opportunity to shout Taylor out. He was like, "Oh, thank you so much for saying that, for your support. Taylor actually just got back all of her music, including that song. Shout out to Tay Tay." And the whole Swiftie-verse, I feel like, just collectively melted. It was so sweet. He's so good at slipping in those little supportive comments, and it's just really sweet to see. The other funny thing that happened on the episode was that they were talking about DJing and that Travis should DJ to open up one of Taylor's shows, and Travis talked about how he loves to be a hype man and that he could really get the Swifties going before Taylor comes on stage. And I'm just here to say that, yes, we're all here for this. If Taylor or Travis are asking if this is something we'd be interested in, the answer is yes. I am ready to be hyped up by Travis Kelce before seeing Taylor Swift. Like, let's go. What a week it has been to be a Swiftie. I literally just still have no words to describe how awesome it is that Taylor has her music back and all of her life's work. I'm so excited to keep listening to the original albums, keep listening to the Taylor's versions, to be able to watch music videos or concert films. I can't wait to see when those concert films come back in a real version, by the way. Like, Reputation Stadium Tour was taken off of Netflix at the end of 2023, and I'm very curious to see if and when it's going to come back, along with any of the other original tour films like 1989, or I don't know if Red was ever posted anywhere. Let me know in the comments, but there's just so much that we have to look forward to in light of this news, and we will be here to break it all down with you. The next 2 weeks, our episodes are going to be slightly different because we took the opportunity while we were together to go ahead and pre-record our next 2 episodes, which we are so excited for you to see. We have a little bit of scheduling conflicts with Ryan's work trip, and then I have a work trip, and this was just the best way to give you guys some really good episodes. So make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube or following us wherever you're listening to this podcast so you don't miss any of our episodes as they come out on Wednesdays. We'll be back to our normal schedule. It's been a crazy couple of weeks. We ended up having to do so many live streams between the AMAs and the Masters and everything. So we'll be back to our Wednesday schedule, and we can't wait to chat with you during those premieres on YouTube on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern. Thank you so much for watching and for listening. Bye.